Hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I am Mama Hambele here. So one of the videos that I posted on the channel, somebody made this comment and I wanted to reply him, but I felt that some things are not just meant to be responded to in comment section. So I resolved that I'm going to shoot an entire video on this and explaining to you all why I beat my children. There are so many reasons why, and I don't know why some of you should be offended at that. Number one, we are Africans and I stay in Africa. We live in Africa. There is no African mother or African parent you see today who does not beat their children. It is the way we are raised. Our parents even raised us, beating us as though we're criminals, even though we have grown to be mild on our children. So this is just the African culture. Perhaps tomorrow, if I change location, I may not beat my children corporally. I may not raise my hands to flog them or beat them, but the truth is that they will definitely be disciplined for any wrong behavior or for any misbehavior. So if you find that offensive that I'm beating my children, please, you should pack well. I mean, I remember back in the days when my mother is beating us and an adult comes and says, "Shh, why are you beating your children, madam? Why are you doing?" Like, she literally leave the child and beat you, John. She will beat you along the child. My mother would literally do that. So it is wrong for you to scold an adult or a parent for beating their children. The best you can do is to advise the children to be of their best behavior, so that, of course, no parent is foolish. Before you see a parent raise their hand to beat their children, then you know that the child has acted silly or misbehaved. I don't want to say this is the reason why African children are more modest or more well behaved. And no. You can beat a child and the child will still turn out to be useless. You can beat a child and the child will still turn out to be useful. So the beating actually is not what makes the child responsible. It is how you handle the beating. If my child does something wrong, I scold them, especially if I have corrected them over time. If I say, for instance, don't keep your foot flags dirty, always keep it tidy, I will make sure I warn them first one, second time, third time, and then after the third time, I can give a spank. I can use my cane to beat the child according to the age of the child. And you know that in doing so, I beat. If you are 10 years old, you know that your level of the expectation I have towards your level of responsibility or being responsible is higher. So the way I'll beat my 10-year-old son is not the same way I'll beat my toddler son. Everybody have different gravity of receiving their discipline. So it's an African, I must beat my child for doing wrong, for misbehaving. Culturally, it's allowed for us Africans. It's culturally and morally okay for us in Africa. So those of you that are white, I know you find it strange, but for us Africans who are based in Africa, I live in Africa right now, I will continue to beat my children. But if I have the chance to relocate or migrate to another country that this is not allowed, I will hopefully not beat them, but I will still discipline them in another way. There are different ways to kill a bear. There are different ways to catch a fish. So it's not just beating that is the only way to discipline a child. There are different methods. You can ask the child to kneel down. You can restrain the child from some liberty and so many more. But you tell me that you have a child, you give birth, and for once you don't spank your child. Honestly, you need to think about your life again as a parent, okay? And him saying that is a sign that I'm being weak, and is a sign that I have low self-esteem or I need to be educated. Excuse me, I am not a weak person. I am the strongest woman I've ever known. And for you to even have the nerve come to my YouTube video and to put up that type of comment, I don't know who is weak here now, because it's my children we're talking about, not your children, not your child, okay? And then also, for your information, I am a graduate in one of the Nigerian notable universities. So don't come here and tell me that I'm not educated, I'm not learned, I am weak. Please, I am not a weak mother, okay? If not for anything, going through childbirth 3 solid times does not show weakness, it shows bravery. All right? And then putting up a content before the public like this does not show weakness, it shows bravery. And so please, let's be responsible adults and be mindful how we comment on people's videos. All right. So another reason why I beat my children, for those of you that genuinely care, because someone like this, I'm going to put a comment to, she genuinely wants to know, and I'm doing this video also because of her. So lady, another reason why I beat my children is because the Bible recommends it. I am a Christian. I don't know for some of you. So we beat our children. Bible recommends that. Train up a child in the way he should go, so that when he is old, he will not depart from it. The Bible says that foolishness is abundant in the heart of a child. But I'm going to put the Bible verse on the screen as I edit, so you see it. Foolishness is abundant in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction, that rod of correction means discipline, means beating, will drive it far away. Children, and it's normal and natural for children to act foolish. So when you use cane on them, when you use cane on children, automatically it helps them to be more responsible, or they'll be like, oh, mommy beat the other time, so I'm going to adjust so she don't beat me, and you just get the best behavior. Thirdly, when you beat your child, especially at a tender age, you break their willpower. What I mean by their willpower is that you make them to be easily influenced by you as their parent. It's not like you're forcing. I know some of you will think that, oh, you are forcing the child to obey you. No, there is something about willpower. Let's say you have a dog and that dog is running into a moving train, right? Will you keep saying, oh, Bingo, 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 don't run into that moving train, Bingo? Because of the love you have for that Bingo or pet of yours, you're literally going to scream at that pet at the moment, because you see something dangerous is coming, right? If it's possible for you to kick the Bingo out of the way, because that's the only fastest way you can save the life of that pet, you will do that, isn't it? So that is how it is. Disciplining your children doesn't mean you hate them. It only means that you love them so much, and this is the best way you can help them understand that this part of life should be avoided. So that is one of the reasons why I beat my children. I do that because the Bible recommends it, and I also do that because I love my children. I don't want to see my children become irresponsible adults. I don't want to see my children grow up to have regrets and say, oh, I was doing this and my mother was never serious. Remember, for those of you who are Christian listening, remember the story of Eli and his two sons in the Bible, Hophni and Phinehas, where the children were just misbehaving, and Eli, who is supposed to be an example to other parents, cared less. You'll be like, oh, you people are not supposed to take the fat meat. Anyway, since you have taken it, no problem. These children of this generation, your boldness is just too alarming. You know, he was carefree. He never frowned at them. He never disciplined them. He never corrected them. He never placed them under restrictions, you know. And those children caused terrible havoc in the land of Israel. For those of you that are Christians and you are familiar with your Bible, you know, they caused a lot of terrible things. And even when God came to warn Eli through Samuel that set your house in order, correct your children, Eli was so careless. He was like, he is God. Anything he wants to do, he should go ahead, and this is God warning you and telling you that your boys, put them in order. All sort of things. They were even sleeping with the women who came to sacrifice. Those children were so useless. I am of the opinion that you should discipline your child, beat your child the best you can, and then that child grows up and you tell him, I beat you not to steal. I beat you and I told you not to tell lies. I beat you and I told you to respect elders. I beat you and I told you not to follow bad friends. I did my best as a parent. So you decide what you choose for your life. It's better than you didn't discipline the child, you didn't do anything, and the child grows up to be irresponsible. So what will be your excuse? You didn't do anything. But if you did something and the child ends up being useless, at least you tried, you did something. You know that this is the child's own way. Of course, he's human being. When he grows, he can decide whether to follow the path that the parent has set him on, which in most cases is rare, because Bible cannot lie. Train up a child in his way he should go. How you train your children is how they become. Even I myself, as an adult, I have been raised in a particular way and pattern that even though I'm independent of my parent right now, the training has been so soaked up in my blood that there's some certain things I cannot have been raised not to do such. You get it? So these are the reasons why I beat my children. And it's not from the place of hatred or wickedness or weakness or illiteracy. It's from the place of genuine love and protection for a better world and community. Okay, so I hope you found today's video very useful. If you liked it, ensure to give it a huge thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not already, and ensure to turn on your post notifications and share these videos with other parents abroad who are wondering why African parents beat their children. I love you all so much, and we'll see you in the next fake interview. Love you all so much. Bye.